The city lights shimmered like far-off stars, bathing the lively streets below in a magical glow. The scene unfolded before me, a cherished vision, a testament to the vibrant pulse of life that coursed through the heart of the city. As I crossed the threshold of our apartment, the familiar buzz of city life felt like a distant echo. The hush that enveloped our home was profound, a sharp contrast to the vibrant melody of noises that typically welcomed me. As the clock ticked away, I found myself departing the office sooner than I had anticipated. The weight of the day's meetings and the relentless paperwork urged me to seek solace in the embrace of my own sanctuary. I envisioned my husband sprawled on the sofa, a glass of whiskey cradled in his hand, or maybe Julian, my stepson, lost in the immersive world of his video games, the volume cranked up to silence everything else around him. Instead, I found myself enveloped in darkness, with only a slender beam of light spilling out from beneath the living room door. A flicker of unease danced in my thoughts as I gently nudged it open, half anticipating the presence of an unwelcome visitor. What I uncovered was truly beyond my wildest imagination. There, on the plush cushions of our sofa, rested Julian. His athletic form exuded a relaxed demeanor. Yet, there was an undeniable intensity that resonated even from the doorway. The television cast a gentle, flickering glow across his features, transforming them into a canvas of focus and delight. His hand glided with a deliberate cadence beneath the fabric of his shorts, the unmistakable silhouette of his desire pressing against the material. A surge of disbelief enveloped me, my breath catching in my throat as the truth of the moment sank in. Julian, my stepson, found himself lost in a moment of self-indulgence, blissfully oblivious to the world around him, including my quiet presence. The size of his endowment was astonishing, a clear reflection of his maturity, and it was presented in all its glory, without reservation. For a fleeting instant, I found myself paralyzed, my thoughts swirling in a tempest of clashing feelings. Embarrassment washed over me, a profound discomfort at having stumbled upon such an intimate moment. Yet, intertwined with that unease was a flicker of curiosity, a tantalizing urge to delve into the essence of the young man he had transformed into. A fleeting thought brushed past me, yet the guilt that trailed behind it lingered. Gnawing at the edges of my conscience, Julian released a gentle sound of pleasure. With his eyes gently shut, he surrendered to the exquisite sensations that danced beneath his own fingertips. The sudden sound jolted me from my daydream, and I understood that I needed to step away before he became aware of my presence. With all the elegance I could gather, I withdrew, my heart thundering like a drum within my chest. The path to my bedroom stretched endlessly, each footfall burdened by the haunting memories of what I had seen. Once inside, I shut the door behind me, pressing my back against it as if to create a barrier against the tumultuous emotions that now loomed, ready to engulf me. The room enveloped me like a cocoon, a sacred haven, where I could unravel the tapestry of the evening's events in quiet contemplation. I approached the window, pulling the curtains back to behold the sprawling cityscape beyond. The light sparkled in the night. Oblivious to the storm brewing inside me, perched on the edge of the bed, my thoughts danced chaotically, eluding any attempt to form a coherent narrative. Julian's image lingered in my thoughts, his impressive stature, and the expression of sheer, unfiltered joy that illuminated his face. There was a facet of him that unfolded before me, a revelation that both captivated and unsettled my very core. I shed my layers, each motion precise and deliberate, before sinking beneath the warmth of the covers. The cool sheets against my skin provided scant solace as my mind replayed the scene from the living room, a haunting echo that lingered in the shadows of my thoughts. No matter how hard I endeavored to cast away the thoughts, they clung to me, enveloping me like a delicate silk shawl on a warm summer night. I lay there, the darkness wrapping around me like a cloak, providing no escape from the unyielding replay of the evening's encounter. The walls, once a proud guardian of my haven, now felt like they were closing in, a quiet observer to the storm that raged inside me. No matter how hard I tried to cast away the thoughts, they held onto me with a persistence that was both infuriating and strangely captivating. Julian's face, so inadvertently revealed, was a haunting presence that would not be banished. His impressive stature, the undeniable essence of his masculinity, unveiled a truth that dismantled the memory of the boy I once recognized. As the night deepened, my battle against the swell of my own desires turned into a fruitless quest. There existed a captivating charm in the forbiddance, a haunting melody that lured me toward the sharp edges of moral transgression. In a tumultuous ocean of feelings, I found myself caught between the crashing tides of guilt and the exhilarating rush of excitement, each wave battling for dominance in my heart. In the quiet of my bed, I let my hands wander across the well-known terrain of my body, each touch a whisper of the maternal roar I had so diligently nurtured through the years. Yet the treacherous notion of Julian's hand in place of my own sent shivers of anticipation coursing through me, igniting a fire that had been dormant for far too long. I surrendered to the fantasy, permitting myself to wander through the shapes of my desire, the deep void that longed to be satisfied, the intense yearning that had been simmering inside me since the instant I first beheld Julian's bare figure now cried out for liberation, and I found myself unable to resist the truth of it. My breath came in quick, jagged bursts as I maneuvered through the perilous currents of my own desire, the allure of the forbiddance, the rush of envisioning Julian's hands, his mouth, his body entwined with mine, was a powerful potion that blurred my clarity and ignited my longing. As I approached the peak of my indulgence, the lines separating reality from fantasy faded into a haze of uncertainty. The waves of ecstasy that enveloped me were refuge and a curse, a fleeting moment of unfiltered joy shadowed by the awareness of its inherent wrongness. In the hushed aftermath, as I lay exhausted and grappling with the profound nature of my own misdeeds, the burden of my choices enveloped me like a heavy cloak. I had stepped into a new realm, not just within the confines of my own mind, but at the core of my existence. The night, once a sanctuary for contemplation and rest, had transformed into a theater for my own ethical saga, a tale in which I had inadvertently cast myself as both hero and antagonist. As slumber gently enveloped me, it was with the weighty sorrow of one who has peered into the void and discovered a shadowy echo of their own concealed longings. As the first light of day approached, it would unveil the hidden truths that the darkness had kept close to its heart. Julian and I would sit opposite one another at the breakfast table, the ordinary ritual of morning greetings charged with the silent understanding of the events that unfolded within the boundaries of our individual isolations. Would he notice the transformation within me, the delicate alteration in how I regarded him? Would he perceive the blossoming recognition of his identity as a man, rather than merely the boy I had nurtured and guided? Once upon a time, there existed a collection of intriguing elements, each waiting to unfold its tale. In the stillness, inquiries lingered like phantoms, shadowing me with the allure of truths waiting to be unveiled. With the early morning sun spilling a warm amber glow across the kitchen, I immersed myself in the familiar rituals of breakfast preparation, each step a cherished part of the day's unfolding tale. The tantalizing sound of bacon sizzling in the pan, the deep, inviting scent of freshly ground coffee brewing. These sensory moments often served as a source of solace, a steadfast presence woven into the ever-shifting fabric of our existence. Yet, today, they faded into mere whispers against the cacophony of tumultuous thoughts that danced in my mind. Thoughts. Julian, now a university student, had blossomed into a figure of remarkable maturity and independence. Yet the previous night had peeled back the layers of academia and ambition, exposing a vulnerability that caught me off guard. With meticulous attention, I arranged the breakfast table, my mind drifting to the vivid recollection of his unguarded moment, a The echo of footsteps on the stairs heralded Julian's descent from his room above. He strode into the kitchen, radiating the effortless assurance of youth. His laptop nestled under one arm, a textbook firmly gripped in the other hand. "Morning," he murmured, placing his belongings on the counter before pouring himself a glass of orange juice. "Good morning, Julian," I said, observing him with a fresh perspective that I wished wouldn't reveal the storm brewing within me. "How are your classes unfolding?" He savored a sip of his juice, reclining against the counter as he began to weave a vivid tale of his recent academic pursuits. I absorbed every word, my head bobbing in agreement, while my thoughts and feelings swirled around like a tempest, each one vying for attention, completely disconnected from his discourse on economics and literature. As he spoke, I couldn't help but sneak glances at him, observing how his shirt clung to his broadening shoulders, the stubble that shadowed his jawline, and the subtle hint of muscle that flexed beneath the fabric. The material of his trousers. Julian had transformed from the awkward teenage I once knew. He had transformed into a young man of notable stature and strength, a realization that struck with vivid clarity just some time ago. As he completed his meal and began to collect his belongings to depart for the day, I felt the weight of the unspoken matter that lingered between us, quietly yet persistently calling for resolution. "Julian, before you leave, there's something I wish to discuss with you," I said, my voice unwavering even as a storm of nerves swirled within me. He halted, his backpack casually draped over one shoulder, and glanced back at me, a hint of curiosity dancing in his eyes. "Of course. What brings you here today?" I inhaled deeply. With each breath, I felt as if I were posed on the brink of a great leap, ready to cast aside all hesitation and embrace the unknown. Last night, I returned home sooner than I had anticipated and stumbled upon a rather intimate scene. The hue faded from Julian's visage, his eyes growing wide with disbelief as a moment of clarity washed over him. Did you catch a glimpse of me?" I nodded, bestowing upon him a gentle, reassuring smile. "Indeed, I did. Let me share this with you. I hold no anger or disappointment in my heart. Quite the opposite, in fact. I recognize that what you experienced is simply a natural part of life. A personal moment that likely caught you off guard, one you never intended to unveil." Julian appeared to retreat within, his discomfort evident in the heavy silence that enveloped us after I spoke my truth. "I can't believe this is happening," he murmured, his eyes locked onto the ground, as if the weight of the world pressed down upon him. Julian gazes upon. I softly encouraged him, pausing until our gazes intertwined before I pressed on. "There's no need for shame, for you are a robust and vibrant young man. It is entirely natural to embark on a journey of self-exploration. Yet, I recognize that such endeavors can often feel solitary when kept hidden away." He stared at me, clearly surprised by the openness of our dialogue. Words escaped me. "No need for words," I comforted him, extending my hand across the table to softly hold his. "However, I wish to extend to you an invitation, a sanctuary where you can delve into your desires freely, without the burden of hiding or shame." A spark of curiosity emerged from the fog of his shame. "What do you imply?" I grasped his hand firmly, my eyes steady as I unfolded my proposal. "I propose that, if you're open to it, we could set up a time for you to embrace the solitude of your thoughts and desires, all the while holding on to the comforting truth that you are never truly alone, that I'm present, observing your journey, offering a feeling of companionship and insight in what is often a lone endeavor." Julian's lips moved in a silent dance, his thoughts swirling like a tempest as he grappled with the weight of my proposition. "It seems you wish to. Will you join me on this journey?" "Only if you feel at ease with the notion," I highlighted, being mindful to honor his independence in a situation. We would draw distinct lines, ensuring you held the reins of the situation at every turn. This tale is not centered on my journey. It's about crafting an environment where you can truly express who you are, liberated from the shackles of judgment or reproach. He remained in a daze, the world around him fading away as he stared into my eyes, wrestling with the weight of my offer. I need to think about it, he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. This is an abundance. Certainly. Take as long as you require, I responded, gently letting go of his hand and allowing him the room to gather his thoughts. Rest assured, Julian, there's no pressure at all. Your emotions and sense of ease hold the utmost significance for me. The remainder of our morning exchanges felt muted, the atmosphere heavy with the gravity of our discussion. As Julian departed for his university classes, an air of unresolved matters lingered between us. A thread drawn tight, poised to either snap or be intricately woven into the tapestry of our relationship. The day lingered, the apartment enveloped in a hush, a stillness settling in the aftermath of Julian's departure. As I drifted into a realm of contemplation, the echoes of our dialogue danced in my mind, each word weaving a tapestry of possibilities surrounding my bold suggestion. It was a risk, no doubt, but one I felt could pave the way to a richer bond of trust and closeness between us. As twilight descended, and the shadows stretched across the gleaming hardwood floors, a blend of excitement and unease stirred within me. Julian was on the brink of coming home from his classes, and I sensed that we would soon find ourselves delving back into the topic of our new arrangement. I had set the stage for a significant change in our relationship, and now the choice rested in his hands. Would he be ready to embark on this journey alongside me? As I immersed myself in the art of preparing dinner, the routine tasks offered a soothing escape from the chaotic thoughts that danced in my mind. The aroma of garlic and herbs wafted through the air, creating a warm and inviting backdrop to the intricate emotional journey I was traversing. As Julian stepped through the front door, his face bore the weight of thoughtful reflection. We shared friendly words, and as we settled in for dinner, I noticed the wheels turning behind his contemplative stare. He had clearly devoted the day to pondering his choices, weighing the possible risks and rewards of the journey I had set before him. As we cleared the table together, the air was thick with unspoken words and lingering emotions. The time had come. The pivotal moment was upon us. Julian, I started, my voice a mere breath in the silence. Have you pondered our discussion from this morning? He paused, his hands frozen mid-motion, the cloth lingering over the dish he was drying. He confessed, his gaze locking onto mine with a fresh determination, revealing the thoughts that had been brewing within him. And I have made my choice. I'm ready to embark on this journey. First, we must establish a few guiding principles. A tide of relief surged through me, swiftly followed by fierce resolve. Naturally, we shall proceed at a gentle pace, ensuring that we both feel at ease with every step we take. This is a tale woven with the threads of trust and respect, standing tall above all else. In unison, we crafted the contours of our fresher understanding, delving into the details from the timing and setting of our agreement to the subtle cues we would employ to convey our consent and comfort levels. It was a surreal experience, navigating the terms of such an intimate pact, yet there was a certain beauty in the openness and honesty that flowed between us. As the sun began to set, we found ourselves in agreement to embark on our new journey the very next evening, allowing us both the space to ready our hearts and minds for the significant transformation awaited our bond. Julian withdrew to his room, leaving me alone with my thoughts, the gravity of our decision wrapping around me like a gentle, all-encompassing veil. The evening that followed descended softly, wrapped in a hush of eager expectation for what lay ahead. The apartment basked in a warm glow, the ambient lighting casting a soft, flattering hue over the dining room, where Julian and I were about to share our meal. With meticulous attention, I crafted a dish that embodied both warmth and elegancy: a roast chicken infused with herbs and lemon, paired with a vibrant array of roasted vegetables and a refreshing salad of mixed greens. As we settled into our seats, The gentle clink of cutlery against fine china created a melodic backdrop to our dialogue. Initially, our conversation meandered through light-hearted topics: Julian's experiences at the university, an intriguing article I had come across, the vibrant cultural happenings around the city. However, as the night unfolded, our exchange transformed, becoming more spirited, filled with playful innuendos and shared looks that suggested a deeper, unspoken purpose behind our gathering. "I must say, Julian, you seem rather engaged this evening," I remarked, a playful smile dancing on my lips as I savored my wine. He met my gaze with a bemused smile of his own. "After all, it's not every day we find ourselves at such an intimate dinner, is it?" The laughter that followed was light and shared, a fleeting moment of levity to help to dissolve some of the tension that had been simmering since our conversation the day before. We lingered over our meal, the bottles of wine, the open serving to lower our inhibitions and heighten the sense of camaraderie that was rapidly evolving into something far more complex. After dinner, we retreated to the living room, where the plush cushions of the sofa beckoned us to settle in for a nightcap. Julian poured us each a glass of cognac, the rich amber liquid swirling enticingly as he handed mine over with a flourish. "To new experiences," he toasted, his voice tinged with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "To new experiences," I echoed, the chime of our glasses meeting in a toast resonating through the room. We sat side by side, our bodies angled toward one another, the air charged with the electric current of unspoken desires. Our conversation meandered through various topics, each one subtly laid with innuendo and veiled references to the true purpose of our evening together. As we finished our drinks, I could sense the shift in Julian's demeanor, a quiet contemplation giving way to a burgeoning boldness. "Shall we move on to the next part of our evening?" I asked, my tone gentle yet firm, a silent affirmation of our mutual consent. Julian nodded, his eyes locked onto mine with an intensity that made my heart flutter in my chest. "Yes, let's," he replied, his voice steady despite the palpable nervousness that underscored his words. I rose from the sofa and dimmed the lights, the room transitioning into a realm of soft shadows and subdued hues. As I took my seat once again, I allowed my gaze to drift toward Julian, an unspoken invitation for him to begin. He took a deep breath, his hands resting on his thighs as he seemed to gather his courage. Then, with a look of quiet determination, he reached for the hem of his shirt and slowly lifted it over his head, revealing the toned planes of his chest and abdomen in the dimly illuminated chamber. My breath caught in my throat at the sight of him, his body a testament to the man he had become. I watched, transfixed, as he unbuttoned his jeans and slipped them off, leaving him clad only in his boxer briefs, the fabric straining against the evidence of his arousal. "Are you comfortable?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, ensuring one last time that we were both at ease with the unfolding scene. "Indeed," he affirmed, his gaze locking onto mine with an unguarded openness that was profoundly moving and profoundly stirring. With that, Julian shut his eyes and reclined against the sofa, his hands gliding with intentional grace to the elastic waistband of his underwear. He lingered for a moment. He paused for a heartbeat, bracing himself for the torrent of feelings that were bound to come next, before he gently lowered the fabric from his hips, unveiling his arousal. I felt a warmth spread through my body as I beheld him, his hand beginning to glide along the expanse of his form, each motion a ballet of darkness and illumination in the softly lit chamber. My own breath appeared to harmonize with the cadence of his actions. My heart raced as I observed him, completely absorbed in his own ecstasy. I remained a silent witness, my eyes locked onto him, sharing in the intimacy of his solitary indulgence. The boundaries of propriety and decorum that had once shaped our relationship appeared to fade away. In the midst of this raw, unbridled display of desire, there existed a tenderness to the act as well. It was a shared understanding, a recognition that what we were engaging in was rooted in trust and a profound, albeit unique, warmth. As the minutes passed, Julian's breathing became increasingly labored, his body coiling with tension. As the tension built, I noticed the muscles in his thighs and abdomen contract. His hand moved with heightened urgency as he pursued the liberation that awaited him. When it concluded, he remained there for a moment, his chest rising and falling with each labored breath. Before he lifted his gaze and directed it towards me. In that moment, the vulnerability I saw reflected in his gaze was a profound reminder of the connection we had forged, a connection that transcended the traditional boundaries of our relationship and ventured into uncharted emotional territory. As I prepared to rise from the sofa, intent on granting Julian the room and solitude he may require in the aftermath of his openness, his hand extended a hand, softly wrapping around my wrist. The touch ignited a spark, a yearning for connection that sent a thrill of anticipation racing through my veins. "Stay," he implored, his voice a gentle plea that stirred something profound within me. "I want you to be a part of this, truly a part of it." I paused, the gravity of his request suspended in the space between us. The boundaries we had so meticulously crafted began to waver before my eyes, the roles of observer and participant merging into one another. My thoughts raced with the weight of what he was asking, the potential consequences of crossing a line that had, until now, remained untouched. As I gazed into Julian's eyes, I perceived something deeper than mere desire shimmering within their depths. There was an ache for intimacy, a profound longing for a bond that surpassed the physical act we were considering. It was an invitation to shed the remnants of our past selves and fully embrace the intricate tapestry of what we had evolved into together. With a sense of fate weaving through the air, I nodded, my agreement offered with the same thoughtfulness that had guided every moment of our adventure up to this point. "All right," I whispered, my voice unwavering even as a flurry of butterflies stirred within me. "I'll stay." Julian's relief washed over him, his hand loosening around my wrist as he led me back to the sofa beside him. His touch was hesitant at first, a delicate exploration of the shapes of my body through the fabric of my clothing. Each caress, each gentle squeeze, found the slow-burning fire that had sparked within me from the moment I first beheld his exposed form. As his hands grew bolder, venturing beneath the hem of my blouse, I found myself arching into his touch, my body responding with an eagerness that belied my initial hesitation. The sensation of his fingers against my skin was both foreign and familiar, a forbidden delight that set my nerve endings alight with a fiery yearning. I could feel the evidence of his renewed arousal pressing against my hip, a tangible reminder of the effect our shared experience was having on him. It was an intoxicating feeling, realizing that I had the power to evoke such a reaction from this strong, passionate young man who had shared his deepest yearnings with me. With a daring that astonished even me, I reached down, my hand moving in harmony with his as we navigated the limits of our newfound closeness. The intertwined sensations of giving and receiving pleasure seemed to bind us together, forming a continuous cycle of desire that allowed no space for uncertainty or remorse. Our movements grew increasingly frantic. The once serene sanctuary of the living room morphed into an intimate space where only the two of us and the intense bond we shared mattered, spiraling into a whirlwind of emotion. Julian's breath quickened, sharp and uneven, his body tightening under my touch as he approached the brink of another release. And then, with a low moan that seemed to resonate from the very depths of his being, Julian found his release once more. The warmth over my hand as I continued to stroke. The sight of him, undone and utterly vulnerable, was a powerful allure that pushed me over the edge as well, my own body shuddering with a force that took me by surprise. In the quiet that followed, we lay there together, a tangle of limbs and whispered endearments. The lines between stepmother and stepson had been irrevocably blurred. The roles we had once inhabited now rendered obsolete by the depth of our shared experience. We had crossed a threshold that night, a boundary that could never be uncrossed. The Stepson sought a connection that reached beyond the confines of his own hand, and the stepmother met this yearning with a fervor that challenged the boundaries set by society. In this act, we reshaped the very essence of our relationship, creating a bond that was both exquisite and intricate. As we gradually untangled ourselves and retreated to our separate rooms, I realized that there was no returning to the past we once knew. We had set forth on a path that would irrevocably reshape our lives, a path woven with threads of deep connection and the unforgettable echoes of a night that transformed us in ways we were just beginning to grasp. The morning light streamed through the delicate curtains, casting a warm glow across the kitchen as I immersed myself in the comforting rituals of breakfast preparation. The rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee danced with the scent of sizzling bacon, a sensory reminder of the routine that once characterized our mornings. Yet, as I laid the table for two, I could not shake the subtle tension that lingered just beneath the surface of our shared domesticity. Julian stepped into the kitchen, his movements tentative, his eyes wary as they met mine. We offered polite greetings, or words floating between us, mere vessels for the unvoiced thoughts and emotions that loomed large. As we settled into our seats across from each other, the echoes of the previous night lingered in the atmosphere, a tangible weight that neither of us dared to confront just yet. We dined in a heavy silence, the sound of cutlery clinking against plates echoing like a distant memory of the lively conversations that once filled our mornings. I observed Julian from beneath my lashes, noticing how his gaze seemed to dance away from mine, a subtle blush creeping across his cheeks whenever our hands brushed together by chance. As we approached the end of our meal, Julian finally cleared his throat, his fingers tapping a nervous rhythm on the tablecloth. As he started to speak, his voice was soft, almost a secret. I felt compelled to share. Your touch held a new kind of magic. It felt refined. A wave of relief enveloped me at his words, a confirmation of the care and restraint I had shown during our intimate encounter. I'm pleased to hear you felt that way, Julian. It mattered deeply to me that we both felt at ease and honored during the entire experience. He nodded, his gaze locking onto mine with a fresh sincerity. I did. It brings a sense of ease, doesn't it? I was pondering the idea. Perhaps we could embark on that journey once more in the future. The suggestion, while not entirely unexpected, stirred a blend of trepidation and anticipation within me. We were navigating fragile terrain, each step forward laden with the promise of deep connection and the risk of lasting heartache. Yet, as I gazed into Julian's eyes, I caught a flicker of hope, a yearning for further exploration that echoed my own unvoiced desires. If that's something you truly desire, then we can certainly explore the possibility, I reply, my tone steady and serene, hiding the whirlwind of feelings that swirl inside me. It is essential that we maintain open communication and set defined boundaries to guarantee that the arrangement stays healthy and consensual. Julian's shoulders visibly relaxed, the tension that had been building within him seeming to dissipate with my affirmation of his request. Indeed, I comprehend. Last night held significant meaning for me, and I believe it would be beneficial for us to delve deeper into this new facet of our relationship. I extended my hand across the table, enveloping him in a gesture of comfort and unity. Then we shall embark on this journey one step at a time, ever attuned to each other's feelings and comfort levels. Our bond is distinct and invaluable, and I hold a firm belief that it deserves to be cherished, no matter the constraints of society. As we wrapped up our breakfast, the conversation meandered into the realm of the ordinary, touching on plans for the day, the looming university assignments, and other such matters. Yet, beneath the surface, a subtle shift in our dynamic emerged, a recognition of the journey we had embarked upon, woven with the threads of mutual consent that colored our every interaction. As Julian prepared to leave for his classes, he paused, turning to cast a glance my way with a blend of appreciation and unexpressed warmth. I'm grateful for all that you have done. Will I see you tonight? A smile graced my lips, a wave of tranquility washing over me as I recognized the journey we had made our choice together. Yes, Julian, I shall see you this evening. With that, he departed the apartment, the click of the front door echoing like a final punctuation mark to the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. Alone once more, I found myself reflecting on the profound transformations that had unfolded in such a brief moment. The dynamics between stepmother and stepson had been forever changed, reshaped by the shared respect and understanding that had blossomed, emerged prominently in our recent exchanges. As the day unfolded, my mind frequently wandered back to Julian and the unique connection we shared. We're forging. The evening ahead held the promise of further exploration, a chance to delving into the intricate weave of our collective longings. It was a route filled with obstacles and possible traps, yet I felt an eagerness for the adventure ahead, tempered by a sense of careful anticipation, hopefulness, the understanding that Julian perceived our journey as something uplifting, perhaps even healing, was a soothing remedy for any lingering uncertainties I may have held regarding the righteousness of our endeavors. We were navigating a path through unknown realms, led by a shared dedication to truthfulness, reverence, and a quest for a bond that surpassed the ordinary. The limits of our connection, as the sun sank beneath the horizon, and the apartment was enveloped in the gentle embrace of twilight, I readied myself for Julian's arrival. The excitement that coursed through me was a reflection of how deeply intertwined I had become in his world, a journey that had veered into uncharted territory, yet one that I had embraced wholeheartedly. As the day began to fade, stretching its shadows across the cityscape visible from our windows, I felt a stirring within me, a deep yearning for the evening that lay ahead. The hours slipped away in a haze of household chores and silent reflection, each tick of the clock drawing me nearer to the moment when Julian and I would reunite in an intimate journey through longing and togetherness. The apartment radiated with a gentle illumination as the evening settled in, the familiar sound of his key turning in the lock reached my ears. My heart leapt in my chest, a symphony of nerves and excitement performing an intricate dance within the confines of my ribcage. On that particular evening, I had devoted great attention to my appearance, selecting an outfit that was both cozy and enchanting, a gentle hint at the essence of our silent pact. Julian stepped through the front door, his presence enveloping the room in an energy that was both soothing and utterly captivating. "Hello," he greeted me, his voice a gentle embrace that seemed to wrap me in its gentle hold. "Welcome back," I said, presenting him with a smile that I wished would express both my fondness and my preparedness to uphold the conditions of our agreement. "I hope your day was fruitful," he nodded, placing his backpack by the door before approaching me. "It was, yet I must confess, my mind was quite consumed with the approaching evening." The honesty of his admission sent a thrill coursing through me, a clear sign that we were both wholeheartedly dedicated to the journey we had embarked upon. "I'm pleased to hear it. I too have been eagerly anticipating the moments we will share." In that stillness, we found ourselves enveloped in a moment, the atmosphere around us alive with the anticipation of what lay ahead. As the scene began to unfold, Julian's eyes sparkled with a blend of eager anticipation and a whisper of vulnerability. It was a poignant reminder that even with his newfound confidence, he was still traversing the intricate maze of our shared experiences. In a moment that felt both unexpected and profound, he extended his hand toward me, a silent invitation hanging in the air. "Shall we?" he asked, his voice carrying a weight of unspoken possibilities. I accepted his offered hand, our fingers intertwining in a gesture that felt both familiar and entirely new. "Yes, let's," together, we moved to the living room, where the dimmed lighting and plush surroundings embraced us. The decor creates an atmosphere, preparing us for our encore presentation. Julian grasped the remote control, his fingers dancing over the buttons as he brought the television to life, setting the stage for a video that awaited his attention. Renowned for its bold themes, a spark igniting the passions we were only beginning to uncover. As the video unfolded, the actors on screen immersed in fervent displays of emotion. A warmth enveloped me, a primal reaction to the vivid scenes that intensified the awareness of Julian's presence beside me enveloped me. I could feel the warmth emanating from his skin, the cadence of his breathing becoming more pronounced as he was drawn deeper into the moment. As the scenes unfolded, he turned to me after a few moments, his gaze intense and brimming with unspoken desire. "I want you to be a part of this with me," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Could you lend me a hand?" The raw honesty in his plea was a powerful lure, a reflection of the faith he had in me to navigate the shadowy depths of our intertwined longings. "Absolutely, Julian. I'm by your side, ready to support you in any way you require." With that, I reached out, my hand finding his and giving it a reassuring squeeze. Our eyes remained locked on one another as I allowed my touch to wander, tracing the contours of his body with a reverence that bordered on worship. Each gasp and shudder that rippled through him served as a silent affirmation of the connection that was deepening between us with every passing second. As my hand ventured lower, I felt the unmistakable evidence of his arousal through the fabric of his pounce. Julian's breath hitched in his throat, a clear sign of his escalating need. "Please," he murmured, a single word that encapsulated a world of longing and desire. In response, I deftly unfastened his belt, my fingers working with practiced ease to free him from the constraints of his clothing. The act unfolded as a blend of yielding to his desires and asserting my own presence in this intricate interplay of pleasure and vulnerability. As I began to caress him with slow, deliberate movements, Julian's head reclined against the sofa, his eyes fluttering shut as he succumbed to the tide of sensation sweeping through him. Witnessing him, enraptured by his own unrestrained longing, ignited a potent spark that fueled my own growing desire. Our movements grew more frenzied, the sounds of our combined pleasure intertwining with the explicit audio spilling from the television. It was a symphony of desire, a testament to the depth of our connection and the boldness with which we chose to embrace it. Then, in a moment of unrestrained passion, Julian reached for me, his hand cradling the back of my neck as he drew me closer. Our lips met in a kiss that felt like both a return and a revelation, a gentle yet passionate exploration that whispered of shared secrets and the unspoken ties that bound us. The kiss deepened, our tongues weaving together in a dance that echoed the rhythm of our entwined hands below. It was a crossing of a sacred threshold, a vivid expression of the love and desire that had flourished between us despite the weight of societal norms and expectations. As our embrace deepened, Julian's hands began to wander over the curves and contours of my body, each touch a quiet promise of the pleasure that awaited us. I reciprocated, my fingers slipping beneath the fabric of his clothing to caress the warm skin beneath. The rise of our passion felt inevitable, a natural evolution from the careful exploration of our past encounters to the unrestrained expression of our shared desire. We undressed one another with a reverence that felt almost sacred, our eyes feasting on the sight of each other's revealed forms. When we were finally bare, Julian's hands trembled slightly as he guided me down onto the sofa beside him. The intensity of his gaze as he positioned himself above me spoke volumes of his feelings, a blend of desire, tenderness, and a profound connection that transcended the physical act we were about to share. Our lovemaking unfolded like a delicate dance, a tender celebration of the bond that had blossomed from the depths of our shared desires. Julian's every touch, every kiss, every whispered endearment was a gentle reminder that we had transcended the roles of stepmother and stepson. We had become true partners, intertwined by a connection that was both exquisite and intricate. As we ascended to the peak of our shared ecstasy, our bodies harmonizing in a dance toward the inevitable climax, I realized we had crossed an uncharted threshold. What began as a journey of desire had transformed into something far deeper, a sacred union, had forever intertwined our destinies. In the quiet aftermath, as we lay entwined in each other's embrace, the silence surrounding us was a warm cocoon, rich with the unspoken understanding of the profound experience we had just shared. Julian pressed a gentle kiss to my forehead, a silent acknowledgement of the journey we had undertaken together. A journey that had altered the course of our lives forever. In the days that followed, Julian and I settled into a new rhythm, one that was punctuated by the ebb and flow of our deepening connection. Our interactions were a delicate balance of domestic normalcy and the electric thrill of our secret explorations, each moment a thread in the fabric of our unconventional bond. Mornings unfolded in a cozy hush, where shared glances and knowing smiles at the breakfast table whispered of the closeness we had cultivated. Our voices danced in soft tones over trivial matters, the everyday chatter standing in stark contrast to an undercurrent of desire simmered just below the surface. As Julian attended his university classes, I found myself adrift in contemplation, pondering the deep transformation that had unfolded between us. The afternoons unfolded like a vast tapestry, rich with both promise and uncertainty. I immersed myself in work and the rhythm of daily chores, yet the steady ticking of the clock served as a constant reminder of the approaching moment when Julian would return. Each evening, we came together in the haven of our shared living space. The familiar surroundings serve as a backdrop to our ongoing journey of discovery together. The rituals we established wrapped around us like a comforting embrace, igniting the desires that had woven themselves into the fabric of our connection. We engaged in conversations that danced with laughter, sharing moments that drew us deeper into the uncharted realms of our relationship. Our evenings often found their climax in the living room, where the gentle glow of lamplight painted a warm hue across our bare skin. The intimacy we cultivated was a rich tapestry of touch and taste, each thread intertwining to create something beautiful, an immersive experience in the craft of shared joy and the limits of our bodily interaction. The external world faded away as we abandoned ourselves in the quest for a collected euphoria that served as both a sanctuary and a discovery. As the nights deepened, we lay entwined, the silence of the apartment a testament to the depth of our trust in one another. Julian's head rested against my chest, his breath slow, and even as sleep began to claim him. In those quiet moments, I found myself reflecting on the path that had led us here, the twists and turns of our journey woven together like a tapestry of shared dreams and whispered secrets. It had guided us to this moment, a journey filled with unforeseen twists and the bravery to navigate the intricacies of our changing bond. In the quiet embrace of our shared bed, I found myself lost in thoughts of what lay ahead, the unvoiced queries that danced at the periphery of my mind. What fate awaited us? This fragile equilibrium we had nurtured with such care. But as Julian's hands sought mine in the shadows, I was gently reminded of the essence of our connection was a bond, crafted through vulnerability and the steadfast belief in the value of what we shared, despite the risks. Thus, we pressed on, day after day, our lives woven together in a beautiful dance of passion and tenderness. In a world that often casts its judgments and attempts to confine love and family within rigid boundaries, Julian and I have created a sanctuary within our home, a realm that is distinctly our own, ours, a haven where we could delve into the depths of our desires and the limitless possibilities of our intertwined future.